The courtroom was silent, but the tension was unbearable. On one side, Christine sat upright, her lawyer calm and collected. On the other, Kody shifted in his chair, every movement betraying his unease. This wasn't just another day in court. This was the unraveling of decades of secrets, lies, and betrayal. The audience of family members, friends, and curious onlookers leaned forward, knowing they were about to witness history. Christine's lawyer began with a simple request. "Can you confirm for the record who owns the property on Maplewood Lane?" Kody's lawyer objected immediately, but the judge overruled. Christine's attorney laid out the documents one by one. At first glance, it seemed Kody's name was on every line, every deed, every signature. But Christine had spent months gathering evidence, quietly building her case. And now the cracks in Kody's empire were starting to show. Christine spoke softly, but her words carried the weight of years of pain. She explained how she had trusted Kody, how she had believed the marriage was built on love and partnership. But what she discovered shocked her to her core. Bank statements, loan applications, forged signatures. Kody had manipulated it all. Her name, once tied to their shared future, had been erased from the documents without her knowledge. The judge leaned in as Christine recounted the moment she first noticed something was wrong. "I remember looking at the papers," she said, her voice trembling. "At first I thought maybe I had forgotten signing them. But the more I looked, the more I knew. It wasn't me. It was my name, my handwriting forged, and my trust stolen." Gasps rippled through the courtroom. Even those who had defended Kody began to shift uncomfortably. The evidence was undeniable, but what was more shocking was Kody's reaction. Instead of denial, instead of outrage, he simply smirked and whispered to his attorney. It was as if he believed he was untouchable, as if decades of deceit could simply be brushed aside. But Christine wasn't alone. Her lawyer produced witness after witness, bank clerks, notaries, even a family friend, each confirming irregularities in Kody's documents. The story that unfolded wasn't just about property or money. It was about betrayal at the deepest level. Kody had built his world on lies, and now it was collapsing before everyone's eyes. At one point, the judge held up a document and asked Kody directly, "Is this your wife's signature?" Kody hesitated, eyes darting back and forth. His lawyer tried to intervene, but the damage was done. Everyone could see it. The panic, the guilt, the unraveling of a man who had thought he could outsmart the truth. Christine's lawyer paused before delivering the final blow of part 1. "Your Honor, what we are showing here is not just financial deception. It's a pattern of manipulation, a calculated attempt to strip my client of everything she built, everything she trusted, and everything she deserved. This isn't just fraud. This is betrayal." The room was frozen. Christine sat still, tears in her eyes, but determination in her heart. Kody leaned back, his confidence slipping away with every passing second. The judge announced a recess, but the damage had already been done. Christine's truth was out there, and nothing could stop the momentum now. And as the audience whispered, one thing was clear. When the court returned, Kody would have to answer for everything. The recess ended, and the heavy wooden doors creaked open as people filed back into the courtroom. The buzz of whispers filled the room. Nobody wanted to miss what was coming next. Kody walked back in with an air of forced confidence, but anyone watching closely could see it. His steps were heavier, his face tight with strain. He tried to act calm, but the cracks were widening. Christine sat with her lawyer, eyes fixed ahead. She wasn't smiling, but there was a calm resolve in her posture now. She knew the truth was finally being laid bare. As the judge re-entered and called the court back into session, the tension thickened like smoke. Kody was called to testify. He rose slowly, straightened his tie, and made his way to the witness stand. The clerk swore him in, and for the first time, the man who had controlled so much of this family's story had to speak under oath. "Mr. Brown," Christine's lawyer began, his voice steady but sharp, "you claim that all financial decisions regarding the family were transparent, correct?" "That's right," Kody replied quickly, almost too quickly. "Then how do you explain the discrepancies in these bank records?" The lawyer laid another set of documents on the table. The camera flashes from journalists in the back illuminated Kody's uneasy expression. Kody leaned forward, squinting at the papers as if buying time. "Look," he started, his voice taking on that defensive edge the family knew so well. "You don't understand the pressures I was under. Managing a large family, dealing with the network, the contracts. It was complicated." "Complicated," the lawyer repeated flatly. "So complicated that you signed your wife's name without her knowledge?" A hush fell over the room. Kody's jaw clenched, his lips pressed into a thin line. He didn't answer. Christine's lawyer leaned in. "Let me remind you, Mr. Brown, you are under oath. Did you or did you not forge your wife's signature?" The silence was deafening. Kody shifted, cleared his throat, but still no answer came. Finally, his lawyer jumped in with an objection, but the judge overruled it. "You may answer the question," the judge said firmly. Everyone was holding their breath. Kody glanced at Christine, and for the first time, his mask slipped. His eyes darted, his composure faltered. The man who had once spoken with certainty and authority now looked cornered. Before he could stumble out a response, Christine's lawyer dropped another bombshell. "Your Honor, at this time, we'd like to introduce testimony from another family member, Meri Brown." A wave of shock swept across the room. Even Christine's supporters turned in their seats. Meri walked slowly to the front, her face pale but determined. She held a small folder of documents in her hands, clutching them as if they were both a burden and a weapon. Taking her place on the stand, Meri's voice was quiet but steady. "For years, I defended Kody. I trusted him. But what I discovered broke me." She opened the folder and pulled out a deed. "This is the deed to the Coyote Pass property. It was supposed to have my name on it. Kody promised me that. But when I received the papers, my name was gone. I wasn't just left out, I was erased." Gasps filled the courtroom again. Meri's hands trembled as she passed the document to the bailiff, who handed it to the judge. The judge studied it carefully, comparing signatures, notes, and filings. His brow furrowed deeper with every page. "Mrs. Brown," the lawyer asked, "did you ever authorize your name to be removed?" "No," Meri said firmly. "Never, I didn't agree to it. I didn't even know it happened until it was too late." The room was electric with disbelief. Meri, who had stood by Kody through so many years, had now turned against him in the most public way possible. Her testimony was the dagger that cut through any remaining defense Kody had. Kody finally exploded. "This is ridiculous," he shouted, slamming his fist against the stand. "You're all against me. You don't understand the sacrifices I've made for this family." But the judge wasn't moved. "Mr. Brown, control yourself. This is a court of law, not your living room." Christine sat still, her hands clasped tightly together. Tears welled in her eyes, not just from anger, but from relief. For the first time in decades, she felt seen. She felt heard. The lawyer delivered the closing argument with precision. He painted the picture clearly. Kody had manipulated finances, betrayed trust, and built an empire of lies. Christine had come forward with courage, and Meri had corroborated the deception. Together, their voices carried more weight than Kody's denials ever could. The judge's words came down like a hammer. Based on the evidence presented, it is clear there has been deliberate financial misconduct. This court recognizes Christine Brown's rightful claim and rejects Kody Brown's assertions. The sound of the gavel echoed through the chamber. Christine exhaled shakily, tears streaming down her cheeks as the weight of years lifted from her shoulders. Meri reached out and squeezed her hand, the two women united at last against the man who had divided them for so long. Kody slumped back in his seat, his face drained of color. The man who once carried himself with unshakable pride was now a shadow, stripped of control, stripped of power, stripped of the illusion he had fought so desperately to maintain. The courtroom emptied slowly, people whispering, glancing back at Christine as she stood tall. For her, this wasn't just about winning a case. It was about reclaiming her dignity, her voice, and her future. And as she walked out into the sunlight, the cameras flashed, but this time she wasn't afraid. She had faced the truth, and the truth had set her free. And the truth had set her free.